Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. $3.41 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off 3.7. Bitcoin holding 108,000 plus. Ethereum holding 2,500 plus. XRP still holding strong like bull. Number 4 spot, 222. We're off 0.2 on the 24 and up 1.5% on the 7-day. Here we see we're ranging between 220 and 224. So it is really, really important to note that these technical analysts like Dark Defender and others have pointed out 222 is a very bullish price point to hold that area. Now there's some other ones too, 240, 280, 290, that kind of vibe. But the fact that we've been holding 222 and slightly above is really, really bullish at my house, and I love seeing it. I do want to remind you about Caleb and Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, Caleb and Brown. Shout out to everybody at Caleb and Brown. First of all, these people are remarkable, and DAI and myself have come together to put together the opportunity for you to open your free account today with Caleb and Brown by going to xrpwealth589.com. xrpwealth589.com and start getting the best night's sleep you've ever gotten in crypto, because the platforms that we mess with, this is why we're messing with them, because they provide a really incredible level of service and security. And I know you're looking for those things too. That's why you want to go to xrpwealth589.com and start getting the best night's sleep you've ever gotten your whole life. Trust me, I'm telling you, you're going to love it. And then here we see this. Look at this. Someone is waking up a bunch of dormant addresses from 14 years ago, all containing 10,000 Bitcoin right now. And here's the addresses that Anders is sharing here from Whale Alert. And then it was floated here. Riz shared this from Vivek for real. Reports that the whale moving 80,000 Bitcoin worth 8.8 billion today after 14 years is Roger Ver. Absolutely wild. First of all, shout out to Roger. I've met Roger. He's a wonderful person. Very nice. I said, wow, is Roger Ver about to dump some Bitcoin for profits or preparing to buy his freedom by giving the U.S. some Bitcoin for the strategic reserve so he can come back to America again? Remember, he's been pushed out and not allowed to come back here. He could be arrested and all these things. It's pretty crazy, and I think it's ridiculous, and it shouldn't be. But I don't know what's going on here. Just speculating. It's wild, no doubt about it. But then you have this. You know, if you guys don't know, Roger Ver was the second person ever involved with Ripple. Take a listen to the story. I sat in on this podcast more than 5 years ago with Dustin Planholt and his Tougher Together channel. And I was actually sitting in this interview, I'm pretty sure, when we talked with Roger, and he explained how he funded David Schwartz's first year of salary at Ripple. Take a listen. And I remember having a private conversation in Singapore at 2019 Swell with him about this exact event as well.
Another fun fact in regards to, I was technically the second person ever involved with Ripple or XRP, whatever you want to call it. So the original idea for it came from Jed McCaleb, as most people probably know. But his idea was that, hey, Roger, I think Bitcoin mining is wasteful. It uses lots of electricity, and we can accomplish the same thing with using less electricity. So I know, he said that he knows how to make a version of Bitcoin that doesn't require mining, and asked if I would pay for the David Schwartz, who now became the CTO. Said, hey, can you pay this guy's salary to help build it, and I'll guide it and we'll work on it together. So I said, sure, let's give it a try. And I think that was way back in 2012. So technically, I was
that's incredible.
The second person ever involved in Ripple. As well.
That's incredible.
Again,
wow.
Anything that works.
Yeah, that was me going, wow. Yeah, shout out to Roger Ver. I mean, we don't know what's going on. And, and some are saying that it's not him at all, right? So we'll have to watch to see what goes on here. But it is very interesting. And this is one of those things about Bitcoin that you have to say, there's so many dormant wallets from so long ago. Head on a swivel out here. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So we know we have a big week or two ahead as the U.S. House officially declares Crypto Week starting July 14th. Meanwhile, we know the bills under review are the Clarity Act for market structure, for which, by the way, Brad Garlinghouse will be testifying next week. He will be testifying next week, I believe it's July 9th, on market structure. And doesn't that seem fitting, knowing that the XRP ledger is really fit for purpose for payments and tokenization? Come on in. Yeah. They're also going to be talking about the Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act and the Genius Act innovation boost. So we'll keep an eye on all of those things. We have a really exciting couple weeks in front of us. Simon McLaughlin, the CEO of Uphold, reminder that Uphold is currently right now either looking to IPO or looking for the perfect merger acquisition deal. How about that one? Simon McLaughlin says tokenization is beginning to influence key parts of the system. Tokenized treasuries, 7.39 billion, global bonds, 300 million, private credit, 26.42 billion, commodities, 1.62 billion cap. Adoption is growing, still early days, but developments are worth watching. And again, that's why I'm so excited about the XRP Ledger and Ripple, the company, is because of all the tokenization that's about to take place. And speaking of tokenization, Ondo Finance, we're bringing tokenized real-world assets to the XRP Ledger. You remember the Ondo Finance flagship short-term U.S. Treasury Fund, OUSG, now live on the XRP Ledger in conjunction with BlackRock's Biddle Fund, tokenizing U.S. debt onto the XRP Ledger. That's all. That's all that's happening. Just tokenizing the debt of the United States of America onto the XRP Ledger. What kind of validation does that give you when you hear it that way? What kind of security does that provide for you when you start to hear things that way? It's really remarkable. I tell you, I'm super excited. And then we get even better news. Ondo, Finance, on the 250th birthday of America, says we're proud to announce that we're taking the next step in our mission to bring financial markets on chain. And in doing so, Ondo is acquiring Oasis Pro, including its SEC registered broker-dealer alternative trading system and transfer agent. You see all the pieces coming together now? Laying the groundwork for Ondo to develop a regulated tokenized securities ecosystem for blockchain-based financial products for U.S. investors. This is getting ready to be so big. I'll tell you how, you know how big this is getting ready to be? It's getting ready to be so big, it's the way that it's done. There won't be another way of doing it. That's what's coming. Now remember this, we just did a big heavy connection between Swift and the possible connections between Ripple and XRP. I certainly believe it's all right there. In videos past, we've gone over how Citi, which is a huge liquidity provider, and Swift already working with Ripple in many, many different capacities to prepare for the new digital on-chain economy and the new movement of payments on digital distributed ledger technology. But here is an old clip that a lot of people told us we can't talk about anymore. We're going to talk about it today. And it's the reminder that Swift using R3 Corda to settle payments using XRP. Now, they can use other assets. That is a fair thing to share. And this is an old video for which
ecosystem,
R3 back in the day said, well, we only used XRP as like a placeholder in this demographic. But the reality is that this placeholder XRP is something that can be used in R3 system. So it's not just a placeholder. It might have been for this video, but it is something that can be used. And it is something that's going to be used by the Federal Reserve and the Faster Payments Now Council and the Faster Payments and all of this business. So we know where this is going, but take a listen to this as a reminder of how long we've been hearing all of this talk about XRP being used in conjunction with R3 and Swift.
Asset ecosystem, which kind of leads into my next point. So we've had some recent announcements that have garnered some interest. We created a payment settlement application that's open source. Anybody can download it, anybody can use it or plug into it or what have you. And when we first did it, we did it for XRP, for the Ripple protocol standard. And that got a lot of people very excited that, oh my God, R3 and Ripple have settled their differences and are in bed together. No, not quite. It's just that it was very easy to do as a kind of as an MVP. But now we announced a partnership with Swift. So Swift GPI will plug into our payment settlement application, or actually vice versa. We'll plug into the GPI network. And again, the announcement about the Swiss digital exchange was a big news for us.
So there you have it. You know, this has been a reality for a very long time. And then we have even more current news is EastNet's payment safe, where EastNet makes it very clear that they've connected distributed ledger technology like Ripple with Swift. Just listen, this is already done.
If you haven't heard of Payment Safe is EastNet's payment hub that unifies dealing with all kinds of payment networks, whether domestic, international, and of course Swift as well, to allow an enhanced STP mode on all different payments. Now, the importance of Payment Safe over here is that it has an important component, which is a universal translator for the exchange of different payment formats. Now, of course, one of the most important formats is the legacy MT that you already know, and the new ISO 222 format, including the CBPR Plus. We offer a lot of. If you haven't heard of Payment Safe,
so there you have it, right there, ladies and gentlemen. Look at it, read it, and weep. It's all right there. You heard him say it. Look, this is so exciting to me because it's all the stage is set. And then while all of this is, you know, a very real conversation, more real than it ever has been, what do we find out about Ripple? They're applying for a bank license. And they're also applying through standard custody, which they own, for a Fed master account so they can hold the reserves for the real USD directly with the Fed. This is why I believe it's another step towards Ripple becoming the Fed 2.0 for the new digital on-chain economy. The Fed itself for the paper friction world, right? For Ripple, issuing the real USD, the digital dollar in the new digital on-chain economy, Ripple stands the chance to become the Fed 2.0 in the new digital on-chain economy. That's how I see it. Just like I firmly believe that XRP Ledger will be adopted as a national payment layer and more likely an international payment layer as well. And that's why it's important for them to have a banking license, because then they become a lender of last resort for XRP. That's why I also believe they won't get rid of it all. Oh, this is so fun to watch. The XRP Ledger really purpose-built for payments and tokenization. Jack McDonald, Senior VP of the Real USD. I am highly inclined to agree with him. It's exactly right. And what about the idea that if we get this national payment layer, international payment layer adoption to the XRP Ledger, could the price be set or controlled like oil, like the conversation I had with the Honorable Cristian Carlo, where we talked exactly about the U.S. Treasury issuing U.S. digital asset bond issuance so they can buy up the asset to issue those bonds and then in turn control the price like they do with oil? Yeah, I think so. And you know what? So does Ripple Van Winkle. Give him a follow.
Did you know XRP's price could one day be set and controlled? That's right, by the world's biggest banks and institutions. This isn't just a theory. Nope. It has happened before with gold, oil, and entire currencies. If you want to know how this could happen to XRP and how XRP could become the backbone of global finance and what history tells us about price setting, watch the full breakdown in my latest video. It is linked down below.
Go check it out. I bet you it's fire. Shout out to Ripple Van Winkle. Look, I mean, you guys know I've been here since before I even was doing YouTube. I've believed this since 2017, before I was ever in YouTube in 2018, 2019. I believe that the price could either be set or controlled, and it does look more like we're moving towards like controlling it like the way they do oil price, by having enough reserves that they can sell some if they need to and bring the price down, or they could continue to issue bonds and buy it up off the market and help push the price up. That is how you price control an asset. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. And this little chart right here, the long story short is they talked to a couple different technical analysts, and whether it's Mellerin or whether it's Egg Rag Crypto, they're both seeing moon on the calendar, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a matter of when. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July with family and friends, and I will catch all of you on the next one.